And 4 teams are selected, and as on your official programme, and Tipperary are first of the team, I will name the Tipperary team for you. In goal, Ken Hogan. Full back line, on the right, John Heffernan. Full back, Conor Donovan. And on the left, Seamus.
That's Pat Fitzelle we're looking at.
Half back line, on the right, Richard Stakelum. The centre, John Kennedy. And on the left, Paul Delaney. Richard Stakelum captains the team. Centre field, number 8, Colm Bonnar. And number 9, Pat Fitzelle. The half forward line, on the right, Jerry Williams. In the centre, Tony O'Connell, and on the left, Aidan Ryan. Full forward line, on the right, Pat Fox. Full forward, Bobby Ryan. On top of the left, Nicky English. And the substitute line is the same as on your programme. Now the Cork team line out as follows. In goal, Ger Cunningham. Full back line. On the right, Dennis Mulcahy. In the centre, Richard Brown. And on the left, John Crowley. Half back line. The half back line. On the right, Tom Cashman. In the centre, Pat Martinez. And on the left, Dennis Lord. Centre field, number 8, John Fenton. Number 9, Tim Cashman. The half forward line, on the right, Michael Mullen. In the centre, Teddy McCarthy. And on the left, Tony O'Sullivan.
He's on the left of number 6 there.
Forward line, on the right, Kieran Kingston. In the centre, Kevin Hennessy.
Tom Cashman in picture now. He'll be mentioned at the scene set.
And the concept line is as shown on your official programme.
There's a terrific atmosphere around Fitzgerald Stadium Killarney as the lucky ticket holders in a capacity crowd of 45,000 are eagerly awaiting a game that's truly captured public imagination. For Cork, there's the good news that Tom Cashman, last year's captain, is fit to resume at half-back, having missed the last 2 matches. While Tipp welcome back to championship action long-serving Pat Fitzelle, who comes into midfield in place of the unfortunate Joe Hayes. So let's take a quick check on the teams. Cork making 2 changes from their starting 15 of last week. Cashman from McCurtain at right half, while Mickey Mullins wins inclusion from the start this time. He's at number 10, with Tomás Mulcahy moving to top of the left in place of John Fitzgibbon. Also 2 alterations on the Tipperary side for this replay. Fitzelle for Hayes in the middle, and another change at right half forward, where a fit again Jerry Williams is recalled at the expense of John McGrath. Referee Terence Murray of Limerick is back in Killarney for his 2nd successive Munster final here. Already we note the switches. The Cashmans have switched. Tom's in midfield, Jim is at right half back. And not unexpectedly up on the Tipp attack, Nicky English has gone in full forward. Bobby Ryan is playing top of the left. So the very first free to John Fenton for a bit of holding just outside the 65-metre line. Bit of a breeze blowing into his face. Tipp won the toss, elected to play with that breeze behind them in the first half. John Fenton going for the point, and Cork are in front after 35 seconds thanks to John Fenton. And one generous bookmaker down in Cork was offering odds of 3-1 against John Fenton getting the opening score in this match. Between Tom Cashman and Colm Bonnar, John Fenton again. One wonders who will be marking John Fenton. Will it be Bonnar or Fitzelle? Jerry Williams trying to drill it in. And a free for a bit of holding on Pat Fox. Pat Fox, who got 9 points in the drawn final last Sunday. 5 of those were from frees. Oh, it went skidding across the goal, touched the defender on the way, and it's gone for a 65. That could just about have gone anywhere. Richie Stakelum preparing to line up the 65. Bobby Ryan is off the field. He's back on just now, having received a facial injury. This to level it up. It tails away to the right. There's quite a contrary breeze about, and the prediction is that there'll be quite a few wides. Bobby Ryan injured a moment ago, but back in the action, playing in the number 15 position. Richard Stakelum under the dropping ball. Tomás Mulcahy, and that is his very first point in this year's championship. A real confidence booster for Tomás Mulcahy, who's been quite out of sorts so far. Well, this is curious. It's the best start Cork have made in the championship in 4 outings. Tony O'Connell and Pat Hartnett. The common view was that Tony O'Connell got the better of that duel last week. Jerry Williams trying to tread it across towards Colm Bonnar, and the referee says that Colm Bonnar travelled more than the 4 allotted steps. John Fenton again, such a mighty striker of the ball. This one is wide. One of the great hitters of a place ball in hurling today. Capacity crowd as expected. Mind you, there were a few tickets on sale in the town today at a price just above face value. Dennis Walsh going out to that dropping ball. Aidan Ryan making it difficult for him. Comes back towards Jerry Williams. Shot half blocked down. Aidan Ryan here just outside the 45 metre line, looking for Tipperary's opening score. And the referee whistles against Tom Cashman. Pat Fox looking for Tipperary's opening score of this Munster final replay, and he's missed the target. Missed 1 or 2 in last week's game, but generally had a very fine match. Teddy McCarthy, the new centre forward, that drops over John Kennedy's head. Tony O'Sullivan, Cork players wearing black armbands. As that ball is dropped into the square, dangerously so, with Mickey Mullins there raiding. Tomás Mulcahy, Conor O'Donovan, the full back. Out there with Tomás Mulcahy. Very near the end line. The referee says there was a pick up off the ground, or the ball was touched on the ground, and that's going to be a free out for Tipperary. The black armbands being worn by Cork, incidentally, as a mark of respect to the late Derry Marr, who was treasurer of the Cork County Board. Dennis Walsh and Tom Cashman inspired to get it forward to Teddy McCarthy. This long-ranging effort from Teddy McCarthy. Cork 3 points, Tipperary yet to score, and just 6 minutes gone. What a fine long-range point that was from the new man on the 40. Tipperary looking for a bit of stability now at midfield. Tom Cashman breaking that one up across towards Richard Stakelum's wing. He was being held and held off the ball by Tony O'Sullivan. Tipp will now be trying to get that ball down in front of the Cork goal, in between Nicky English and Richard Brown. That will be the crucial test. It's knocked away by Johnny Crowley across to the arms of Tony O'Sullivan. Holds it and strikes delightfully into space towards Kevin Hennessy. What a good catch. 45 metres out from goal. There's support on his left. Teddy McCarthy looking for Cork's 4th point. This is a dream start for the Munster and All-Ireland champions, going in pursuit of a 6th in a row here in Munster. The Cork crowd saluting that 2nd point by Teddy McCarthy. John Fenton just bats it down towards Pat Fitzelle. Tom Cashman vigilant, trying to pick up the loose ball. Mickey Mullins, the new boy, who will be anxious to make an impression. Fitzelle trying to burrow his way through, and the referee says that he was fouled by one of the Cork men, either Tom Cashman here or Pat Hartnett. Cashman picking up a knock that time. Pat Fox coming out from his corner forward position to take the free. And yet again, he's put it wide. That's the team's 3rd wide so far. It's a very nervous, very tentative start by Tipperary, who got away to a flyer last week. John Kennedy covering for his right half back. Up forward by Tony O'Sullivan towards Tomas Mulcahy. Driving in low towards Kieran Kingston. Good defensive play by Seamus Gibson, the cornerback, towards Aidan Ryan. Doubled on it beautifully. Down towards Pat Fox. Between Pat Fox and Johnny Crowley, who got the stick in there first, and that's a Tipperary ball. The Tipperary followers will be looking for more of that, more penetrating shots down into their full forward line to really test the Cork full back line. Colm Bonnar towards Pat Fox. Johnny Crowley resorting to the boot as he kicks it away. Pat Fitzelle. Jerry Williams here trying to pick up the loose ball. That's Fitzelle back in championship action for the first time since 1984, and he has put over Tipperary's 4th wide. So a very, very poor start. Again getting inside the defence to Tomas Mulcahy, and swung around high by Conor O'Donovan, the fullback, and that should have been a booking offence really. Lucky to get away without his name being taken. So this to be Cork's 5th point. John Fenton tapping it over calmly. There are 10.5 minutes gone, and Cork are in total control. Nicky English here, first touch of the ball virtually for him, and someone whipped across, and the referee is having the word, the name of the fullback, Richard Brown, for that dangerous challenge. Well, he didn't take the name, just a caution. Pat Fox still looking for Tipperary's first score, this from a very favourable position. They've opened their account with just coming up to 12 minutes gone. Pushed down nicely by Paul Delaney to the waiting Tom Cashman, blocked down by Colm Bonnar. Jim Cashman, his brother, adding it to it. Seamus Gibson, unable to hold on to it, but gets it forward just far enough to John Kennedy to lift the siege. Donny O'Connell trying to get more into the action at centre half forward, trying to inspire this forward line into movement. They've been well marshalled so far. Back to Aidan Ryan. He scored a nice point from this position last week, but this time he spurns the chance. So Tipperary, with that nervous, indifferent start, finding themselves 4 points adrift, 5 points to 1 behind. Teddy McCarthy trying to add to it first time. A noticeable change from last week when he was trying to catch most of those balls. That's Pat Fitzelle who finally dug it out of that hole. Paul Delaney has switched wings, gets there first. Tom Cashman to a very eager Tomás Mulcahy, drilling it in towards the full forward line. 2 men inside, one of them Kevin Hennessy, the other Kieran Kingston. It took a ricochet off one of the defenders and a good piece of goalkeeping by Ken Hogan, who must have seen it very late. But the attack is still there. It still looks dangerous. Tony O'Sullivan and Mickey Mullins. Kieran Kingston there too. Back to Kevin Hennessy looking for a goal chance. Came off the cornerback Seamus Gibson, with Conor O'Donovan there too, and it's a 65. Johnny Clifford there, the coach and manager of this Cork team, will be very, very pleased with the confident start they've made. John Fenton, who got 12 points last week, 10 of them were from frees, 1 from a 65, and he's got another 65 this week, lifting the score along to 6 points to 1. Babs Keating there was on the feet for a moment, trying to encourage his side. Tipp in need of a bit of leadership out there at the moment. Richard Stakelum, the player there, battling with Tony O'Sullivan, the one who might well inspire them as he did last week. Paul Delaney, a young under-21 player, still 19 years of age, getting himself out of difficulty, fouled in the process as he got that ball away, and the referee going down, and I think he had a very quick word there with Tomás Mulcahy. Paul Delaney, a very fine left half back. There have been a number of niggling incidents like this. This is precisely what happened as we watch it in reprise. Paul Delaney going back to pick it up the second time, and he was caught by Tomás Mulcahy. Kevin Hennessy is spoken to by the linesman. Richard Stakelum, this game badly needing a couple of Tipperary scores to generate a bit more life. So far it's been all Cork in command in most of the vital positions. Paul Delaney happily recovered from that injury, it's Tomás Mulcahy who lost the stick. Pat Fitzelle, Tom Cashman again stepping into the breach, is indestructible so far. Aidan Ryan picking up that loose ball, 65 metres out from the Cork goal, but losing the footing. Tomás Mulcahy running onto that one, but the referee declares that he's fouled Richard Stakelum.
Will the following two people come to the stand entrance? Monty Mulcahy from Douglas in Cork and Vincent McKenna from Borris-Ileigh, County Tipperary.
Richard Stakelum with the free, 17 minutes gone. And yet another wide. The Tipperary team hasn't got motoring at all so far, though still only 5 points behind. Paul Delaney kept his head, stayed cool, but has lost it to the waiting John Fenton, drilling it in along the ground. He hits a ball on the ground so strongly. That's Nicky English has come way out the field to get some more possession. Jim Cashman into Kevin Hennessy on the solo burst, looking for a goal. He's put it wide. Very good defending. Paul Delaney and John Heffernan combining to stop the big Middleton man. Walsh cross towards Tomas Mulcahy's wing, and a Tipperary ball. John Heffernan with a cut over Donny O'Connell's head. Gets it back, however, off the chest of Johnny Crowley, down towards Aidan Ryan, who's moved in top of the left. Just managed to keep it in play, but then virtually presented it to Denis Mulcahy, who couldn't hold on to it, and that's going to be a Tipperary ball. Bobby Ryan, one of those who's yet to really get into this game. Towards his brother Aidan, off Denis Mulcahy, and the second 65 of the match so far for Tipp. Kennedy is the taker, man of the match in the drawn game, and that typifying the way things have been this afternoon. Nothing but nothing going right from a Tipperary point of view. Ger Cunningham once again with a long puck out towards Richard Stakelum. It's a very young Tipperary side, of course, with one or two notable exceptions. The average age, 23. Aidan Ryan without the stick, leaves it there, and it's Jim Cashman who gets it forward to his brother Tom. Well, the referee says he was fouled as he hand passed that one away. The referee giving it as a free from where the foul occurred. John Fenton right on that 65-metre line, straight in front of the post, and he doesn't miss with that kind of gift opportunity. 7 points to 1. John Fenton has scored 3, and he seems to have picked up some kind of a problem. I wonder, has he got a knee injury? Seemed to be signalling something to the bench that time. Colm Bonnar touched it on. Donny O'Connell, Aidan Ryan here, again making a crossfield run. That's the shot, and a good point. Perhaps that will inspire this team, as Aidan Ryan gets only Tipperary's second point, and it's come in the 22nd minute. Well, by comparison, comparison with the hype of last week. This has been a poor contest so far, but that's a good catch by Richard Stakelum as he tries to get his forward line moving. Bobby Ryan there in the thick of the action with 3 Cork men, one of them Pat Hartnett, but that leaves a Tipperary man loose, Nicky English. Shot half blocked down, easily taken by Ger Cunningham. There was almost a suspicion that that might have been blocked down, but it's cleared by Ger Cunningham. Teddy McCarthy dodging around defenders to Tomás Mulcahy, the loose man in the breach, and Cork are doing now what Tipperary were doing last Sunday. There's marvellous backup support and flawless finishing. Tomás Mulcahy's second point. Well, Cork showed that they could come back 7 days ago. Can Tipp do that in Killarney? On the ground in which they won their last Munster title 16 years ago. Nicky English picking that one up. The man they will look to for a bit of inspiration and a bit of drive. 3 times an All-Star, fouled that time. They play away on that far side, but the referee's whistle goes, and the referee will want to step in fairly quickly to defuse a potentially volatile situation between Johnny Crowley there and Nicky English. The referee's whistle had sounded before all that happened, but in the excitement at Killarney they didn't hear the whistle. So a free in, Terence Murray decides for an earlier foul on Nicky English. Pat Fox, as usual, the free taker, and slowly they are winning their way back into this match. Just 5 between them again, which in hurling is no real lead at all. Most of Ger Cunningham's puck outs seem to be going cross towards Richard Stakelum's wing. This is Colm Bonnar. Played so well with Joe Hayes last week at midfield. Hayes out today because of a broken thumb. Tom Cashman from the middle of the field. It's come down to the waiting Kieran Kingston. Off the goalkeeper, well saved again. Nice positioning by Ken Hogan, but a bad clearance. He's given it straight out to Kieran Kingston, who'll try to make amends. But there were too many Tipperary players between Kingston and the goal, and that's Seamus Gibson who gets it out. Nicky English is in midfield at the moment. Colm Bonnar driving it forward. The Tipperary supporters here at Fitzgerald Stadium trying to whip up a bit of enthusiasm among their players. Ken Hogan made a couple of very fine saves that time. That last one getting down very low to save. So 10 minutes to go to half-time. In a Munster final where just about anything could yet happen. Teddy McCarthy rifling in the shot from very far out. Rather typical of the Munster style of hurling, where the emphasis is at all times to play the ball forward at the earliest possible opportunity. Teddy Mac did that just a moment ago. Pat Hartnett touching it down. He's done quite well so far against Donny O'Connell. Again they test Richard Stakelum's wing. Perhaps they sense a weakness there. Teddy McCarthy. Nobody inside, and in any case it's gone left of that left-hand post there. Touchdown by Pat Hartnett, and one wonders at this stage, with Tipperary needing a bit of inspiration, will they consider a change? Nicky English! Great goal! Oh, that's a brilliant goal, and it's brought the side right back into the match. Watch it again in replay, where it all started there with Fitzelle booting it forward, and it was aided on by Aidan Ryan between Richard Brown and Bobby Ryan. And what a great finish that was by English. Nicholas English, he's the one I think who can inspire this side. He's gone back now to top of the left. And while we were talking, Tipperary were thinking of a change. Jerry Williams is gone off, and I think it's Michael Doyle who's coming on. Mickey Mullins from the 45-metre line. That's the quick reply, but it comes off the post and it's gone wide. So action at both ends.
22, Michael McGrath, and the first number 10 from the Tipperary.
Martin McGrath is the one who's come on, and it's Jerry Williams who's gone off. So there's the makings of a right good Munster final yet. Just a couple of points between the teams. Kevin Hennessy. That goal may have come somewhat against the run of play, but it was just what the match needed. John Fenton lifting it in towards the small square, kept in play by Kieran Kingston to Tomás Mulcahy, trying to drive inside, the shot, and it's gone in. Somehow it went in beyond the goalkeeper. Tomás Mulcahy, the scorer, from an unbelievable angle. And what a reply that was to English's goal for Tipperary a moment ago. Watch as it came in from the acutest of angles. Kieran Kingston kept it in play, down to Mulcahy, and just watch the goalkeeper in this bit of action as Mulcahy barged his way forward, quite legally, the drive at the near post, deceived the goalkeeper and dropped in. So, as we go back with the action, this is Tomás Mulcahy, who's having his best championship match of the year so far. Just over-travelled and over-carried as I speak, but he's now scored a goal and 2 points, having come into this match without scoring even a point in the 3 previous championship encounters. So Ken Hogan deceived by that one, but a man who kept his side in the contest last week with a mighty save early in the second half. 5 points between them again. Pat Fitzelle pushing it forward to Aidan Ryan. Jim Cashman. Those 2 goals have certainly set Fitzgerald Stadium buzzing. John Kennedy makes an untypical error, misses it completely, waits then for Mickey Mullins to come in, but shadowed it well. Nice composure on the ball by John Kennedy. Now, can he finish with a point? He's put it wide for the sides, 8 wide in this half. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Stakelum gets there first ahead of Tony O'Sullivan, Colm Bonnar. Pat Fox here. Inside Johnny Crowley, and his jersey tested, and no question about the free. Johnny Crowley there had a very turbulent afternoon against Fox last Sunday. The free from Fox is good, it's over the bar, and there are now 4 points separating these sides in the Munster final. Jared Cunningham gets his pucking out early to get every bit of length into the drive. This time aimed towards Teddy McCarthy, well read however by the left half back Paul Delaney. Such a nice tidy player. He's hooked nicely by Kieran Kingston. It comes back out to the waiting Tom Cashman, blocked down well by Colm Bonnar. Pat Fitzelle coming to the aid of his midfield partner, and look at the backup support by Paul Delaney, who started all of that. Support to his right, drives it in towards Martin McGrath and Bobby Ryan. Jim Cashman here, upended by a combination of Pat Fox and Donny O'Connell. O'Connell, I think, was the one who got him, and that's a free out. John Fenton is going to leave the free for the long pucking Ger Cunningham. This is about 45 metres out from his own goal. The breeze carries it away towards Tomás Mulcahy. What a fine catch, how eager he looks for the fray this week. Teddy McCarthy. Drives it in again to that danger area, but it's nicely taken there by John Kennedy. Nice solo burst by John Kennedy, about to be hooped by Mickey Mullins. Kennedy still gets in his clearance. Cross towards Pat Fox's wing, and the speed of the ball against the grass carried it too quickly in over the sideline. But the pace of this contest has picked up. Tipp much more into the game, just 4 points between the teams, which is such a small lead in hurling. That's 2.5 minutes before half-time. Tony O'Sullivan. Teddy McCarthy, he's been very effective on the 40. And he's pushed. And Paul Delaney wondering just why the referee has allowed the free. John Fenton waits as Dennis Walsh gets back to mark his man, who is Martin McGrath. Fenton then with the free. Over the bar. 1-9 to 1-4. Cork still the leaders. John Fenton has now contributed 4 points. Pat Fitzelle taking it out of that ruck towards Bobby Ryan's wing. Jim Cashman was so effective when switched to right half back last Sunday. A dispute about whose ball it is. And the linesman Neely Duggan here from Limerick quite adamant that it's a Tipperary ball. Into the last minute of play in this first half. Pat Fitzelle making something of a hash of it, but it might come good yet for Tipperary. Colm Bonnar trying to tee it up for Pat Fox. Just 4 points separating the sides again, and that was the position in Thurles last Sunday when the sides went in for half-time. With that final leap catches, looking for another score before half-time for his side. Stopped by Conor O'Donovan. It comes out towards the waiting Tony O'Sullivan. He gets the point 5 seconds into injury time. His first contribution of the afternoon. 5 points are between the teams. Michael Keating here will have the half-time break to further encourage his side, as the referee blows right on the 35.5-minute mark, and the sides go in with Cork leading as they've done from the very start, leading by 5 points, a goal and 10 to a goal and 5, and what a very good first half contribution by the midfield in particular of Cork, commanding well, but there's another 35 minutes to go. Terence Murray then getting the second half underway. Breeze seems to have died down somewhat. It's quite a contrary breeze. As Donny O'Connell then with Tipperary playing into the goal on our right for the second half, sets up Pat Fox, steadying himself. Just 4 points between them again. That's a perfect start to the second half. A point after just about 14 seconds. Both Fox and Fenton now the scorer of 5 points each for their sides. Tony O'Sullivan, who got one late in that first half, inside towards Tomas Mulcahy. Well, it's gone off a defender. Most of the crowd were already heralding a second Tomas Mulcahy goal, but it's a 65. Once again, the signs were ominous. Tipperary's defence not handling that situation too well as Tony O'Sullivan chipped it in. Watch for Tomás Mulcahy, the goalkeeper in distress, but it's a 65. John Fenton, who got one of his 5 points from a 65 in the first half. This to restore Cork's 5-point advantage. He keeps it rather low, but just high enough to put it over the bar, taking account for the breeze, and another point for John Fenton. Pat Hartnett breaks it down, but to the waiting Colm Bonnar for Tipperary. Played it infield quickly. Johnny Crowley missed it completely. Nicky English trying to get it up onto his stick. Nice ball inside towards Donny O'Connell. Johnny Crowley the one with it. Half blocked down by Pat Fox, the man he was meant to be marking. Across it comes. Aidan Ryan here. Out towards Colm Bonnar, between Colm Bonnar and Tom Cashman. To the waiting Dennis Walsh. Walsh lifting the danger. Kevin Hennessy not getting the better of Conor O'Donovan. The ball into space, well met by Richard Brown, the fullback. Teddy McCarthy jumping with two Tipperary men. They missed it between them. It goes back to Richard Stakelum, up towards Martin McGrath, the substitute from that first half. Jim Cashman to Tony O'Sullivan, dodging around would-be markers. Inside to Teddy McCarthy. Nice change of direction by Teddy McCarthy. Down towards Kieran Kingston, well blocked by this fullback Conor O'Donovan, who limited Kevin Hennessy to just 1 point last week. What a fine catch that was by Colm Bonnar, and an advantage applied by the referee. But the second time, the referee quite correctly saw that Tom Cashman was fouling Bonnar again, and the advantage was unlikely to fall to Tipperary. So there was a quick word of caution to Tom Cashman. Richard Stakelum is the free taker. Rather low in towards Nicky English. Richard Brown getting there first. English again battling, and it goes wide. Man was always very much in the thick of the action. That's the way he likes it. And looking for a better service now in this second half from the players further out the field. And a nice bit of cooperation as Richard Brown helps to get the splicing back onto Nicky English's stick. John Fenton towards Kieran Kingston, hasn't scored so far. And towards Tomás Mulcahy, kept in play. Mulcahy, the scorer of a goal and 2 points, but well hooked by John Heffernan. Out to Tony O'Sullivan, who has a second point from this match, and he further increases Cork's lead. They now lead by 6 points. Cork this afternoon very clinical in attack, displaying a weakness or two, however, in defence on occasions, which Tipp will hope to exploit. Pat Hartnett's the free taker, driving it down towards Kevin Hennessy. Can't hold it. Here's Teddy McCarthy coming in, but Mulcahy there too, and it's Conor O'Donovan, the fullback, who's been in total command down in that area of the field. But a poor delivery out to Tom Cashman, and he has put it wide. First wide of the second half for Cork, 6 wides in all they have. Tipp with 9 wides. So it remains 1-12 for Cork, 1-6 for Tipp. Nicky English held off well by Richard Brown, added to by Mickey Mullins. John Kennedy, again he bursts forward on a solo run, Linking up here with Aidan Ryan, who's been switched for the second half from the left to the right wing. Getting inside Dennis Walsh as he chips that one from way out the field. And Aidan Ryan with yet another Tipperary wide. They've squandered a lot of chances, Tipp. Delaney with John Kennedy, getting it up towards Martin McGrath. Ryan blocked down by a combination of two players. And here's John Fenton from that loose ball. Mickey Mullins is outside him, about to be hooped. Driving it in low along the ground. Seamus Gibson there for Tipperary, not quite realising where it's gone. It's gone to Kevin Hennessy, the full forward. A rare opportunity to shine, but the referee says he over-carried the ball. A breach of playing rule 195, which is specific to the extent that it states the player in possession shall hold the ball for no longer than is necessary to play it away. Ken Hogan. Good drive by Donny O'Connell, trying to link up with Nicky English. Johnny Crowley stepped into the breach, but there was a foul on Donny O'Connell, so a free to Tipperary. Pat Fox, with 5 points to his credit, is content to tap it over the bar, and there are just 5 points between the sides once more, 112 to 107. Babs Keating behind the goal, trying to inspire his forward line. Looking at the watch, there's plenty of time left, just 8 minutes gone in the second half. Sun now into the Tipperary backs' eyes as Paul Delaney watches, and knew from the time he hit that one that it was far too near the sideline. Dennis Walsh, taker of the line ball, cutting it in beautifully. John Kennedy going back to Forage. Once again, he's played a very steady game at centre half back. But that loose ball comes to Tom Cashman, releasing Tony O'Sullivan. Such a tricky little player on this left wing for Cork. Inside towards Tomás Mulcahy. Mulcahy has looked much sharper, a great deal hungrier in this game than he did in the 3 previous Munster Championship matches. Back to O'Sullivan, finding space and room, turning it inside as they raid, with Kieran Kingston to hit it. Blocked, Mullins, the shot, and wide after all that. Mickey Mullins hasn't really made an impression on the right wing in the same way that he did when coming on as a sub. Hartnett got there first. Bobby Ryan drives it in. Donny O'Connell. Once again targeted for Nicky English. Martin McGrath there too. Here's English trying to get the stick to it. Jim Cashman got it out, running as far as Aidan Ryan. That's a point. So it's 112 to 1-8. Aidan Ryan's second point of the contest. And you remember last week there were 4 points between the sides at half-time. Cork came back. Tipp will be hoping to do the same. Just listen to their supporters. A mighty puck out by Ger Cunningham. Finally reaches Kieran Kingston, trying to shake away the attention of Seamus Gibson. But all to no avail. Man who scores vital goals and points at the right time, but hasn't scored at all so far. And Hogan with that rather loose puck out. Glad to see that picked up by Pat Fitzelle. On towards Pat Fox. Stopped in the middle, however, by Pat Hartnett. Can't hold on to it. 3 Tipp players there. One of them, Donny O'Connell, looking for perhaps a goal to really set this tie up. In towards Martin McGrath, dangerously so. Inside for English, who was surely in the square. Well, the referee didn't take any action. Play continues, but it seemed to me that Nicholas English was well inside the square when he received that ball. So a bit of a let-off for Cork. Tom Cashman releases it way downfield towards Kieran Kingston. Seamus Gibson keeping a very tight rein on him. Cross towards his captain, and now it's the Tipperary supporters in the crowd sensing that there might well be a revival yet for their fortunes. Aidan Ryan adding to it, stopped by Johnny Crowley as he stepped in between 2 Tipperary players, numbers 11 and 13, and Donny O'Connell being spoken to by the referee. Pat Hartnett will be very pleased with his form in this final replay. Trying to pick out Kevin Hennessy. Indeed, apart from Tomas Mulcahy in the Cork full forward line this afternoon, the other 2 players up there, Kingston and Hennessy, have been conspicuously quiet. A push and a free for Tipperary. Donny O'Connell now beginning to assert himself a good deal more. When he buzzed in last week's contest, the Tipperary forwards got a lot of possession. Player who likes to move forward as Pat Fox lines up this free from outside the 45-metre line, and there are now just 3 points between the teams, or 1 solitary goal. Pat Fox has contributed 7 points. Fox then the leading scorer in this Munster final replay at Killarney. There's Babs Keating on the left of picture. Christy Roach beside him there. So are they about to see their own piece of history? Tipp without a Munster Championship win in 16 years. Cork have made a sub. Ger Fitzgerald is in. Teddy McCarthy with that very daring catch. And once again he extends Cork lead. They lead again by 4 points. He's had a very sound game on the 40.
Number 10 on the Cork team.
So the announcement, which the fans have heard and seen indeed, Ger Fitzgerald in place of Mickey Mullins. Martin McGrath feeding it back to Pat Fitzelle. 113 to 19 the position. John Fenton way back there under pressure. Paul Delaney here always seems to have time at his disposal, the hallmark of a fine player, I think. Pat Fitzelle, well, the idea was probably to switch the direction of the play. In effect, it's put his own defence under some pressure with Tony O'Sullivan here trying to round Richie Stakelum. And Richie Stakelum doggedly sticking to his task, and he wins the line ball as well as it went off the feet of Dennis Walsh. Let's hope that common sense will prevail down there. It's been played in a very good spirit so far, this Munster final replay. 20 minutes to go. 4 points between the teams. Tipp in arrears, as they have been from the very start of the contest. But it's become a very lively contest now in the second half. Towards Pat Fox, can't hold it. Dennis Walsh. Colm Bonnar there, tussling with Tom Cashman. And the linesman once again signals a Tipperary ball. Colm Bonnar will be the taker of the sideline ball. Oh, delightfully cut up towards Pat Fox. And the umpire decides that it went off the fingers of the number 4, Johnny Crowley. So Paul Delaney stepping up to see if he can improve Tipperary's fortunes. This their third 65 of the match. They haven't scored from either of the previous two. Looks good. It is. Tipperary 110, Cork 113. And plenty of time remaining. Cunningham hoping that time will tick away with his side now 3 points ahead and hoping to stay that way. John Fenton is blocked down by a very eager Pat Fitzelle, added to by Bobby Ryan. Turn forward again in towards Pat Fox. Johnny Crowley having a testing afternoon. That's Nicky English into the path of Pat Fox, pursued by Johnny Crowley, but there's a goal chance here for the taking. Oh, it's there! Or is it? No, it's not! It hit the woodwork and came out. There were Tipperary supporters celebrating a goal by Pat Fox. General confusion down there, supporters being ushered off the ground as that point comes in from Pat Fitzelle. But what an absolutely bizarre incident that was. It seemed to have been a levelling up score as Pat Fox nipped inside Johnny Crowley following this chip by Nicky English. He had yards on Crowley, who was closing, but what about the finish? As we watch, everyone thought it was a goal, but no, it came off the woodwork and came out. So just 2 points between the sides, 113, 111. Conor O'Donovan touches it down rather dangerously in front of his own goal, but the danger averted by Paul Delaney. Richard Stakelum trying to burst his way out. Aidan Ryan trying to drive it ahead with Donny O'Connell. O'Connell looking fitter than Dennis Walsh at the moment. 2 points behind. What a goal would do for their chances now. Bobby Ryan striking it low along the ground, easily seen by Ger Cunningham, the goalkeeper. Too experienced to be outfoxed by a chance like that, but he's given it to Dennis Mulcahy, who's in real trouble. Bobby Ryan getting it back to Martin McGrath from an acute angle. And there's just 1 point in it. Just listen to the Tipperary support as the substitute Martin McGrath puts just the bare minimum difference between the two teams. So it's really turning into a very fine contest. It's all in the melting pot. Seamus Gibson bursting out. Are we to see a bit of history made? Bobby Ryan hurling deliciously now. Up towards Dennis Mulcahy. Back down for Dennis Walsh. Trying to pile on the pressure at the other end for a change. Breaks down to Teddy McCarthy. A point would restore Cork's confidence here. Teddy McCarthy getting inside, and the referee has blown the whistle. The umpire was giving it as a wide, but the referee saw there was a push from behind on Teddy McCarthy. Free into Cork. So Fenton's going to take it. I wonder will he be content with the point. It's from a quite acute angle to the right of the posts. Yes, he's content to tap it over for his own 7th point. And Cork have taken a 2-point lead again. Just over 15 minutes to go. Tipperary, who won an All-Ireland final in Fitzgerald Stadium back in 1937, won the last of their Munsters here 16 years ago. Cork bidding for a 6 in a row, something which they've never achieved before. Cork, who looked the masters and the more eager side in the first half, settled very well, but they're under all kinds of pressure in this second period of 35 minutes. John Kennedy flinging it in from out the field, taken by a confident Ger Cunningham, pursued by Nicky English. Out towards Kevin Hennessy, who's moved out into the half-forward line. Ger Fitzgerald is now playing at full forward. Hennessy never looked comfortable there, but he's beaten by Pat Fitzelle, who's played his heart out to Pat Fox. Out towards the unmarked Aidan Ryan, who slipped at the vital moment. Pat Hartnett. Richard Stakelum got there ahead of Tony O'Sullivan. Dennis Mulcahy almost left it behind him. Jim Cashman there too with Nicky English. And the goalkeeper says, leave it there for me. And a long relieving clearance off the stick of Ger Cunningham. Breaks down to Kevin Hennessy, now operating at centre half forward. Feeding it in towards Ger Fitzgerald and Tomas Mulcahy. Conor O'Donovan here, bursting out from his full back position. To Tom Cashman. Can he point that loose clearance? He's put it wide. Cork's fourth wide of the second half. Tipperary so far by far and away the better team in this second half. And the referee saw a push, a foul on Nicky English by Richard Brown. And the referee there taking the name of Pat Hartnett. So he was the one who was pushing English. In this second half so far, Tipp the scorers of 9 points against 4 for Cork. Pat Fox with a free. Once again, there's just the bare minimum between them. 114 to 113, and Pat Fox has got 8 points. The blue and gold proudly unfurled here at Fitzgerald Stadium. Many of these young people in their early 20s, can never remember a time when Tipp were the kingpins in Munster hurling. Paul Delaney, he's only 19. Lovely sidestep, hooked by Teddy McCarthy. Gives it to Aidan Ryan, challenged very high by Dennis Walsh, but still got it in towards Pat Fox, steadying himself. Is this the equaliser? Yes! For the first time since the match commenced, the sides are level with 12 minutes to go. What a tremendous point that was. Some very fine link-up hurling between 3 Tipperary players. That point all started by Paul Delaney. Jack Cunningham trying to vary the pack outs. Tom Cashman to pick up the loose ball towards John Fenton, who's been very, very tightly marked in midfield. John Kennedy now playing with a renewed burst of life. The sides all level. Trying to put his team ahead. Oh, Cunningham has stopped it, but manages to get it out towards Dennis Walsh. Teddy McCarthy once again, a superb catch. It's been a real feature of this match. Then off balance out near that sideline, flinging it in towards Tony O'Sullivan. Cork are back in the lead, but the goal is disallowed. The goal is disallowed. They'll argue about it, and they're doing more than arguing. The umpires deciding that Tony O'Sullivan was inside the square. Watch it once again as Teddy McCarthy made that fabulous catch 45 minutes after his own goal, out towards the sideline, chipped it in. Watch for Tony O'Sullivan, number 12. Was he inside the square? Well, it's very doubtful from here. Perhaps he was just in about a foot. But when the ball came in, I wonder. It's all academic. It's 114 to 114. John Fenton bats it down. What a tremendous Munster Championship match this is proving to be. A great year for Munster hurling. Ger Fitzgerald breaks the stick. Tony O'Sullivan points. Cork are in front again. Good work by Tony O'Sullivan, getting his 3rd point with 10 minutes to go. Whoever wins this contest will always realise that they have to fight every single step of the way to win it. Tipperary still looking dangerous up there in that forward line. The Cork defence not inspiring all that much confidence on occasions. Dennis Walsh down towards Kevin Hennessy. Ger Fitzgerald swinging across towards Tony O'Sullivan, trying to thread it through to Tomas Mulcahy, picked up here by Richie Stakelum, dodging round would-be tackles. Feeding it across to the far side. That's a very good ball because there was an unmarked player over there, Martin McGrath. McGrath looking for an equalising point. He's got his 2nd point of the game. 2 points in the second half by the substitute, Martin McGrath. Means it's 115 to 115. Well, I wonder what odds now another draw. 9 minutes to go, the sides level, and there would be extra time, of course. The last time I said that, when Cork were playing, something else happened. Teddy McCarthy again trying to break it down. John Fenton trying to dodge around John Kennedy in towards Jerry Fitzgerald, feeding it forward to Tony O'Sullivan, who's now on the full forward line, always looking very dangerous, off a Kilkenny stick, and it's gone for a 65. So both sides now having 3 65s in the match to date. Fenton has already pointed from his first attempt. So this is third 65, 115 to 115. Every free vital. And John Fenton, as usual, virtually unerring in that kind of a position, gives Cork the lead again. The lead, a very, very tentative one. Martin McGrath trying to hold on to it. So this is where the match may well be won and lost. McGrath turning. He could do little wrong. What a super substitute Martin McGrath is turning out to be. That is his third point, his second in succession for his county, and he has squared up the scores again. Well, so often in the past we've seen replays fail to live up to their billing after a marvellous first contest, but this is a very, very notable exception. John Kennedy and Paul Delaney there, and it's Seamus, known as Sharky Gibson, who gets it out the left corner back, up to Pat Fox. Fox inside towards Nicholas English, between English and Richard Brown. Out comes the goalkeeper, and on 3 or 4 occasions, Ger Cunningham has come from his goal with very timely interceptions. This time it's Aidan Ryan. Tipp trying to force their way home now. Both sides looking so eager for victory. So which of these sides has the greater stamina and the greater degree of fitness and commitment in the last 6 minutes? That's where the match is going to be won and lost. Tom Cashman against Colm Bonnar and Aidan Ryan. And the referee, I think, is going to instruct the linesman to throw the ball in, or perhaps he'll do it himself. Wanting the other players well back. Bonnar and Cashman. Fenton was vigilant. Colm Bonnar trying to drive it forward. Look at the determination of the Tipperary side, exemplified by the play of Colm Bonnar. Dangerous position for Cork. Tony O'Connell took his eye off it at the vital moment. But here's Pat Fox. He's just put it wide, I think. Yes. It remains level. Cork 116, Tipp 116. A very nerve-wracking moment for all the fans here, for the players and for the mentors, I'm sure, as well. A quick swig from the bottle there by Michael Babs Keating. Tom Cashman, by the way, has just gone off the Cork team. Jim Cashman and Pat Hartnett here. Hartnett. Oh, that's a super catch by Richard Stakelum. Defusing the danger when Cork were raiding on that left wing. Down towards Nicholas English. The captain giving his side the lead, trying to infuse confidence into the team of a young side. 3 against 1. Absolute stalemate. Paul Conor there, the number 18, who's been introduced into the middle of the field in place of Tom Cashman, who was running out of steam in the second half. Teddy McCarthy making a fine catch and making life awfully unbearable for the Tipperary half-back line. Player who endears himself to the Cork fans by his tear-away style of play. So the position, 4.5 minutes remaining. It's 116 to 116. John Fenton got the last score. He's got this latest one for Cork as well. So Cork edge back into the lead once again. Fenton has now scored 9 points off Cork's tally of 117. And Cork are making yet another change. John Fitzgibbon is in, will follow the play. Teddy McCarthy, has he moved back into the middle of the field? That's down towards Ger Fitzgerald. This is John Fitzgibbon, just introduced a second or so ago. Ger Fitzgerald and Conor O'Donovan there, as always. Kieran Kingston's the player who's gone off. John Fitzgibbon is the one who's on for Cork. John Fenton lining up this sideline ball. Johnny Clifford living on his nerves. I saw Donny leaning out of camera a moment ago give a signal to his players that there were 3 minutes left. So the referee, I think, wanting to remove a spectator who's hurling himself around over there. So 117 to 116, Cork the leaders. John Fenton, the taker of the sideline ball, saved by Ken Hogan. Now to launch the counter burst. 2.5 minutes to go, and there was a foul on Ken Hogan as he played that ball out, so it's a free from where the ball lands, which is about 50 metres from his own goal. So Paul Delaney is stepping up to take this free. It seems a bit ambitious to expect him to point from here, but he'll try and lob it in. Were Tipp to goal from here, they would be in a very strong position. Richard Brown breaks it down. Dennis Walsh is there too for Cork. Dennis Walsh clears it out. A vital clearance. John Kennedy driving up with the Tipp attackers. This is Paul O'Connor, the second half substitute for Cork. Unable to get it out. Didn't get to Donny O'Connell. Donny O'Connell looking for a levelling up score. The chip inside. Aidan Ryan is there with Richard Brown. Pat Hart did a Richard Brown, trying to get it out as Donny O'Connell tries to get it in. And there's a fair old rock down there. Pat Hartnett was happy to see it knocked away, but the umpire, with the arm raised, signals a 65. Oh, it's warm out there. It's warm if you're a fan as well. One of the hottest contests for a long, long time. It may have been a bit lackluster in the opening minutes of this match, but my goodness, it's red-hot, fiery stuff now as Paul Delaney steps up. 1 minute to go. His side behind by a point. 117 to 116. Oh, he's put it wide. Paul Delaney misses. There's time there still for this game to be won and this game to be lost. 45 seconds to go. Cork, are they on the threshold of a bit of history? Twice before, the 6 in a row eluded them in 1905 and 1979. John Fenton knocking it down and out of play. Ken Hogan will be in a mighty hurry. Tipp know what they must do. They have to point or goal. No room for delaying now. It's between Donny O'Connell and Pat Hartnett. Nicholas English going through. What a vital moment this is! Over the bar, the sides are level! That was the sensible thing to do, I think, in the circumstances. He might have gone for a goal and tried to win it. So the sides are level. Will there be extra time? We're into time added on for injuries. This is a tie that seems to be impossible to decide. There's still time, the referee decides. No, there isn't! There it is! What a magnificent second half that was! Nicholas English, the saviour of Tipperary, with that laced point. In fairness, it would have been unfair for either side to have lost it. So it ends 117 to 117, and there will be extra time. And listen to the warm round of applause ringing around Fitzgerald Stadium in Killarney. The crowd in the stand on its feet. It's been a tremendous battle, a tremendous second half, and thankfully there's another half an hour to go. And because of that great late point, Tipperary get a tremendous ovation from their own supporters, and it's to be a complete new match, of course, which basically means subs can be brought on or taken off, and it means that anybody who was taken off earlier can come back on. 15 minutes aside. Doing a quick check of the numbers. Either that or he's doing the pools. Frank Murphy here, the Cork County Board Secretary, checking matters. He was the referee, incidentally, when Tipperary last won their 1971 title here. So the flags are swaying and the scarves. The Cork supporters getting ready. So it's taken as a complete new match, 15 minutes each way. Cork will play from left to right in this first half. Kevin Hennessy now operating at right half forward in towards Ger Fitzgerald, and a completely new restructured full forward line. Ken Hogan, John Fitzgibbon, Ger Fitzgerald and Tony O'Sullivan in the full forward line for Cork. That's Paul O'Connor, who was introduced to the sub last week as well in Semple Stadium, getting it up here to Teddy McCarthy. Went around Paul Delaney, was held. Free to Cork, just outside the 45-metre line. John Fenton looking for the first point of extra time, restoring Cork's lead. He's now scored 10 points in the contest. Colm Bonnar under the dropping ball. Dennis Mulcahy coming out to meet it. Overhit that pass, intercepted by John Kennedy. Positions himself very well. Dennis Mulcahy trying to pick it up off the ground. The hand pass. Kevin Hennessy. Oh, completely missed by Seamus Gibson. Ger Fitzgerald gets a second point. So Cork lead by 2. Tom Cashman touches it down towards the waiting Teddy McCarthy. Nipping in there first was Paul Delaney. Here's Pat Fox. Half blocked down by Johnny Crowley. Cross towards Kevin Hennessy, who's playing a good deal better, having got a bit more freedom out on the 40, but stopped that time. Aidan Ryan trying to drill it inside towards Nicky English. Over Richard Brown's head. Dennis Walsh is back there near the sideline, holding possession and stepping out over the end line for a 65. Dennis Walsh forced into the error that time. A touch of cramp affecting Paul Delaney. Tired, aching limbs at this stage. And 40 minutes of action this week and last, failing to separate these sides. So Tipperary for the moment will be down to 14 players. Well, Delaney doesn't at all look comfortable. Cramp definitely affecting his left leg. Difficult to balance. This for Tipperary's first point of the extra time period, and Paul Delaney's second point of the match overall. So it's now 119 to 118.
Final score of the Munster Senior Football Finals. Jerry 11 points, Armagh 9 points. And for golfing enthusiasts,
Ger Cunningham.
bring you everything today. British Open, Adinger is 1 up.
Richard Stakelum trying to get it out, but only giving it away to John Fitzgibbon. John Fitzgibbon anxious to make amends for a poor performance last week, but missed with his first chance in this extra time period. Ken Hogan unleashing the puck out. Paul O'Connor pursuing Colm Bonnar. Aidan Ryan shipping that heavy shoulder challenge, having a difficulty or finding a difficulty, however. Richard Stakelum stopped by Johnny Crowley for Cork. An easy and clean catch taken by John Kennedy, and once again he goes off on a solo run, pursued by Sean O'Gorman, introduced as a second half substitute by Cork. And Martin McGrath just runs out of space. Once again, that was a lovely solo run and a good burst forward, however, by John Kennedy. John Kennedy is now marking Kevin Hennessy, and that's Hennessy in possession. Trying to make an angle for himself. Switch of direction to John Fitzgibbon, who wasn't quite expecting it, and harmlessly wide. Cork's 13th wide of the match overall. So 6 minutes gone in the first period of extra time. Tipp trailing by a point. In fact, they have never led at any stage in the match so far. Tony O'Connell, nice pick-up, trying to round Pat Hartnett, succeeds, bursting inside, linking up with Pat Fox, striking, the sides are level again, 119 to 119, and Pat Fox has contributed 10 points. Fox and Fenton, once again, the leading scorers, 10 points each. Cork have taken off John Fitzgibbon and replaced him with Mickey Mullins. The referee holds up play for a moment. Teddy McCarthy unable to hold on to it. Here's Tomas Mulcahy, pursued by Richard Stakelum. Across the field towards Mickey Mullins. Taken off in normal time as a sub, but of course you can reintroduce a sub already taken off in extra time. Long relieving clearance by Pat Fitzelle down towards Martin McGrath. Sean O'Gorman leaves it for Dennis Mulcahy for Cork. Paul Delaney, he's now operating at centre half back. Trying to mark Teddy McCarthy. Comes to John Fenton, drilling it inside. John Heffernan, the right corner back, gets there first. Seamus Gibson, the other corner back, taken nicely by Aidan Ryan. Held off by Teddy McCarthy. A beautiful pick-up by Teddy McCarthy. Being marked, or intended to be marked by Paul Delaney. He's marked this time, but fouled. Seamus Gibson spoken to, and he becomes the second player to be booked.
Number 10, Michael Mullins, has replaced number 19 in the Cork team. and number 18, Paul O'Connor, had already replaced Jim Cashman.
John Fenton then in no particular hurry with this free. Tired and weary limbs. Signs level 119 to 119. And John Fenton gives his side the lead again. And how often he's done that here in Killarney. And he looks very weary, very tired. And I think he wants to go up into the forward line and stay up there. And they'll probably hold on to him for his free taking alone. He's playing right corner forward. Pat Harted unable to get to it. Here's John Kennedy once again, battling bravely. Richard Brown, who's had a fair old tussle with Nicky English. English a scorer of a goal and a point at the end of normal time. That's nursed out to Sean O'Gorman. Would probably have been full back, but for Richard Brown's good displays. Sean O'Gorman, who replaced Jim Cashman for the extra time period. Bad sideline ball. It comes nonetheless to the bursting Kevin Hennessy, booting it forward towards Teddy McCarthy, unable to catch it this time. Mickey Mullins low along the ground in towards John Fenton. If he can hit it, it was well blocked out by Seamus Gibson. Out to Pat Fitzelle towards John Kennedy. It's going to be the survival of the fittest. Paul Delaney down towards Donny O'Connell. Pat Fox trying to get it up onto the stick, stopped by Johnny Crowley. Dennis Walsh there too, back to Crowley. Great old battler Johnny Crowley to Kevin Hennessy. And the referee saw a foul on Johnny Crowley, and he gives the free from where the ball lands. Good refereeing by Terence Murray. Paul Delaney meanwhile is lying down injured, that cramp victim just a moment or so ago. And yet again a cramp, this time it's the other leg. Michael Doyle is in, you saw him just coming on a moment ago. Michael Doyle introduced, a fresh pair of legs. Paul Delaney is taken off meanwhile. John Fenton takes the free, and he doesn't miss. Man who rarely puts a free wide. 121 to 119. John Fenton yet again the scorer. Ken Hogan. Aidan Ryan driving forward, looking for a score for his side, and he's put it wide. The county's 13th wide. So there are 3 minutes to go to the end of this first period of extra time, and it's 121 for Cork, 119 for Tipperary. Aimed towards Teddy McCarthy, but stopped. Here's Colm Bonnar, still looks very fit, anxious for the fray. That's Tony O'Sullivan, and it went off John Heffernan for a Cork sideline ball, and John Fenton will come across to take it.
Number 21, Michael Doyle, has replaced number 7 on the Tipperary team.
Well, last week John Fenton was taking sideline balls from about 30 metres out from his own goal. This one is about 40 metres out from the Tipp goal. What a tremendous striker of a dead ball he is. Still in play, well held by Teddy McCarthy, but there was pushing by Tomás Mulcahy, I think on Richard Stakelum. So a free out for Tipp. Two minutes before the half-time whistle and extra time. Splendidly sunny afternoon it is now. Cork still the leaders. Dennis Walsh now operating at centre half back. And that's Aidan Ryan, who chips over the point from just inside the 45-metre line. His third point. So once again, just a point separating these teams. And wouldn't it be appropriate coming into the end of the first period of extra time if the sides were level, because there's been so little between them. Tony O'Sullivan has put it wide. Ken Hogan in no particular hurry with the puck out his side, behind by a point, but there's another 15 minutes of this extra time still to go. Pat Hartnett operating at left half back now, up towards Ger Fitzgerald. Another Middleton player. And he's put it wide. Cork not finding the target and having plenty of scoring chances. Michael Keating back up there towards his defence now, wanting them to steady down as they head in towards the end of this first period of extra time. Sean O'Gorman can't hold on to it. Here's John Kennedy. Kennedy received a knock. Dennis Walsh got it way out towards Tony O'Sullivan's wing, still operating at left half forward. That's Seamus Gibson stepping into the breach. Mickey Mullins hitting it forward. John Fenton and Ken Hogan. Well read by Ken Hogan, the goalkeeper. And the referee's whistle sounds that at the end of this first period of extra time, Cork are still in front. They lead by just 1 point, 121 to 120. Tipp keeping the same pair in midfield, Fitzelle and Bonnar. But Cork making changes. Paul O'Connor now in there with Kevin Hennessy. Pat Fox his side, trailing by a point, over towards Michael Doyle. Easily held off by Richard Brown, Cork's full-back, man who's a dentist based in Kent. So 15 minutes to break the deadlock. Martin McGrath. Awkward angle held in there by Pat Fox. Jersey held. Referee has blown the whistle. It was stopped superbly with marvellous agility by Ger Cunningham, just in case. But the referee had blown the whistle before that save, which was really a super one. Pat Fox, I wonder what you think about going for a goal to give his side a lead. Remember 1971 when Michael Babs Keating scored from a goal? Well, it's a point, it levels things up. 121 to 121. It's been that kind of match as he tries to psych himself up now again for the remaining battle. 13 and a half minutes to go. The dropping ball down towards Teddy McCarthy. And Bobby Ryan, by the way, is now playing back in the half-back line at centre half-back, and he's marking Teddy McCarthy, and there's a foul, and the referee blows the whistle. John Fenton with that left leg now heavily strapped, playing in the corner forward position, but kept on the field for his free taking alone. He scored 12 points already. He's put it wide, and the cheers are Tipperary cheers. The sides remained level. John Fenton's first miss from a free. What a compelling contest this has turned out to be. Sideline ball favouring Tipperary. John Kennedy is going to be the taker. He's put it wide, or has he? No, it's kept in play by Michael Doyle towards Martin McGrath. Still there for the taking, nudged out to the waiting Paul O'Connor for Cork. Overhead stroke down into space towards Tomas Mulcahy. Trying to turn around John Kennedy and Richie Stakelum. Good solo run. Richie Stakelum gets in a good touch, however. John Kennedy can't keep it in play. Sideline ball for Cork. Well, it really is remarkable for players who are, remember, all amateur players, to be this fit and able to sustain the challenge right down to the buzzer. Kevin Hennessy telling Jimmy Brown, let's take it nice and easy. Jimmy, one of the Cork benters on the near sideline. Kevin Hennessy taking the sideline cut into space, taken by Ken Hogan. Dennis Walsh lets it run on and beat him, and it's Donny O'Connell who has the opening. The sides are deadlocked, 121 apiece. Donny O'Connell chipping and scoring, and Tipper in front for the first time. It's Donny O'Connell's first point. 4 minutes into the second period of extra time. Ger Cunningham, the goalkeeper, with the puck out. Tipp have gone in front. Can they now stay in front? Tony O'Sullivan trying to restore parity for Cork. Chipping that one with little authority. And Tipperary stay in front. Ken Hogan, the goalkeeper, with the puck out. Tipp have shown themselves a side not easily beaten. Martin McGrath, who was an inspired substitution in the second half of normal time. Teddy McCarthy can't hold on to it. It comes to Colm Bonnar, and Tipp seem to be far superior in midfield at the moment. Nice delivery to Donny O'Connell. Will he go for a goal or a point? He went for a goal. It came over to Brown. Michael Doyle. Tipperary have scored. It's a goal for Tipperary. Can you believe it? Michael Doyle, the Holy Cross man, introduced as a substitute, has scored a goal following that initial build-up by Colm Bonnar, who eluded Johnny Crowley's challenge, the hand pass inside to the unmarked Donny O'Connell, and watch as he went for a goal, and it came off Richard Brown into the path of Michael Doyle, who beat the goalkeeper and right corner back. So just now, look at the Tipperary supporters. They lead now by a goal and a point. Michael Doyle's on the field there, and Johnny Crowley, the Cork cornerback, is being led off, having picked up a facial injury. He'll be a big loss if he stays off the field. Dr. Con Murphy there rendering medical assistance. A nose injury, it seems to me. Dermot McCurtain is the player they're bringing on. Dermot McCurtain's coming on at half-back. Sean O'Gorman will be in the full-back line. But Tipperary now have taken a very strong position in this Munster final. Can they now hold on? Aidan Ryan, Pat Hartnett bursting forward. The referee says he was fouled. Fouled by Bobby Ryan, free into Cork. And they're disputing that decision by referee Terence Murray. 121 for Cork, 222 for Tipperary. Tipp are 8 minutes away from their first title for 16 years. Can John Fenton's free taking deny them that? They were anxious not to give away too many frees, and the referee says that because of persistent protest by Pat Fitzelle, he's bringing the ball forward a further 10 metres to the advantage of the Cork men. John Fenton with the free, over the bar, and there's just a goal between them. John Fenton saying to the Cork crowd behind the goal, let's bring that ball back in quickly. It's a real classic of a contest. What a Munster championship it's turned out to be this year. Towards Dermot McCurtain and Kevin Hennessy. Knocked over towards this near side of the field. Teddy McCarthy with two Tipperary men eager and anxious to get it. The two Ryans, and it's Aidan, the younger of the Ryan brothers, who belts it forward with the boot to Pat Fox. Inside the 45-metre line, Dennis Mulcahy and two other Cork men next to him. Inside towards Nicky English. Richard Brown can't hold on to it, but gets a vital touch. Good confident full-back play by Richard Brown, who hasn't let the side down. To Pat Fitzelle, inside to Michael Doyle, this to wrap up the Munster final. Yes, a goal! A second goal by Michael Doyle. This is absolutely unbelievable. Michael Doyle, an inspired substitute in the extra time period, scored after Richard Brown broke it out initially, but couldn't get it away properly. Pat Fitzelle played it in quite low to the unmarked, and what about that for marking? Michael Doyle rounded the keeper, or attempted to, and in the end hand-passed it in. So Tipperary find themselves just about 6 minutes away from their first title since 1971. Ken Hogan, the goalkeeper, watches it. He fumbled it. The ball's in the back of the net, but the referee has blown the whistle, and he's giving it as a free in to Cork. So Cork, knowing what they must do, they've got to go from a goal. They're 2 goals behind. John Fenton receiving a word of encouragement from Ger Fitzgerald. Tipp without their full-back at the moment, as Conor O'Donovan is down with cramp. John Fenton waits. Conor O'Donovan then, the full-back, a cramp victim, about to be helped from the field. Well, he wants to stay on. John Fenton must go for a goal. Under 5 minutes left, just under. Here he comes. Off the foot of one of the defenders and away to safety. Ger Fitzgerald back in, through a melee of players. One of them was Tomas Mulcahy. But what a tremendous recovery this has been by Tipperary. Outplayed in the first half virtually. Tremendous recovery in the second half, and they've been all over Cork in this extra time period. Certainly the second half of. And Michael Doyle here, very much the hero. His father John, who won 10 Munster medals. And Michael Doyle wins the 65. And there in the middle, right next to the cup, is John Doyle. Michael Doyle's father, great Tipperary cornerback of the past. Watching now, praying I'm sure as well, hoping to see this team lift the Munster Championship Cup. Michael Keating, the coach, who must be awfully pleased with his side. 2 goals in front. They've had the stamina and the speed and the class to take on the champions, and so far they're beating them at their own game. Pat Fox, the free taker. It would have been a nice insurance point. 3.5 minutes left, just over 3. Ger Cunningham towards Teddy McCarthy, stopped by Colm Bonnar. And there have been so many heroes down there in the blue and gold this afternoon, it's going to be awfully difficult to pick a man of the match. But right now they're not worried about that. It's the trophy they're after. Martin McGrath hits it in, he's put it wide. At this stage the Tipperary fans are calling it, I'm sure, as good as a score. Seamus Gibson cutting out the danger towards Dermot McCurtain for Cork. Cork not beaten yet. Mickey Mullins running out of space, and a sideline ball for Tipperary. John Kennedy, the sideline taker, with 2 minutes to go. Into space, Dennis Walsh running back for it. Oh, he's left it behind him. Another chance for Donny O'Connell. Another goal, yes! Oh, it's unbelievable! The Tipp fans are racing in. Donny O'Connell's having more trouble with the fans than he had with the Cork defence that time. As John Kennedy let in that sideline ball, it was a mighty pack, helped on, and just wait as Pat Fox went over there to challenge Dennis Walsh. Good vision by Pat Fox, spotting Donny O'Connell on the burst, driving inside, and yet again he beats the goalkeeper with a hand pass goal. So what a day of days this has turned out to be for the team in blue and gold, standing now just 1 minute away from a Munster title success. With a free from Cork, his team now 3 goals behind, chipping it in, helped out by an eager Tipperary side as Tipp are on the threshold of victory, ready to wipe away bitter memories of Munster final defeats in 1984 and 1985. The fans are ready to invade the pitch. 15 seconds to go before the whistle. Donny Nealon down there, Babs Keating and Theo English, the triumvirate who've made it all possible with a very fine squad of players. Exhausted and weary players they will be. So, it's in to time added on for injuries. Babs Keating, his proudest moment as a coach, already accepting the congratulations. Still a few seconds to go. Colm Bonnar playing it out over the sideline. Referee looks at the whistle. They'd better end it fairly soon. Dennis Mulcahy will take the sideline ball, one of the last pucks of what's turned out to be a real epic Munster hurling final in Killarney. Tony O'Sullivan strikes, but that's it! After 16 long years in the wilderness, victory belongs, and deservedly so, to the Premier County by 4 goals and 22 points to 122. Babs Keating, Theo English, Michael Lowry, Tommy Barrett, all these people have made it possible, and just look at the scenes of celebration. It's a job very well done. Killarney is awash with blue and gold. A day of unsurpassed joy for Tipperary hurling after 16 long years. The All-Ireland champions, the Munster champions Cork, are out, and Tipp are the new kings of Munster.